Now we discuss inclusivity, an inclusive society, how to achieve inclusivity in society. Um, this has been something that our best minds haven't been able to achieve thus far. Yeah, it's something that philosophically is hard to conceptualize. Yeah, um, well, it's not hard to conceptualize. Being inclusive means including, validating every point of view of every human being. This means if people want to kill, you have to somehow see that as being valid. If people want to rape, that's valid. If people want to uh, change their gender, that's valid. If people want to steal, that's valid. If people want to fucking kill themselves, that's valid. And you must be inclusive, as in you must not discriminate against any of these people. Obviously, there are some points of view which um, infringe on other people's rights to have a point of view. Yeah, but you must also include these points of view if you want to be inclusive. If you're scared that not including everything would lead to unrest, yeah, then you have to be aware of the nature of the beast being the human being. Um, People who want to kill, when their opinions are not considered or validated, they will become cunning, conniving, and manipulative. Yeah, everyone whose opinion is not included will become manipulative to try and get their way. People who want to kill will try and introduce killing in way of euthanasia. They have this need, this obsession, addiction to killing, and they want us to validate that. So they look for different cunning ways of bringing about that. Um, Everyone would do that. Yeah. So how does society accept everyone's point of view without compromising itself? Yeah. I mean, the fear is that if you don't accept everyone's point of view, you compromise yourselves. But then the reality is, if you accept everyone's point of view, you compromise yourself. You can tell I'm a moderator already, innit? So, what I suggest is that society comes up with an aim. And I've also gone through the trouble of defining what that aim should be. The one and only fundamental aim for society should be to preserve humanity for eternity. Yeah. To ensure that humanity survives for eternity. That is the only aim that society should be concerned with. Anything that threatens the longevity of humanity, yeah, should be excluded from society. Society should be bounded, finite, and limited. Society should not encompass the whole world. Okay? Society should be where humanity concentrates on preserving its existence. Everywhere else, anything goes. Yeah. So we'll have to have a designated space for the fundamental aim of society, which is to preserve the human race for eternity. This space should not be overwhelming. This space should be sacred. Yeah. And anyone who agrees to go into that space should only be concentrating on issues that bring about eternity for humanity. When you don't feel like doing that, don't be in that space. Okay? Which means in the West, they're getting towards that. They have areas which are red light areas, and you know that that's not where you go to take your family for a picnic. Yeah. And then they have areas where uh, people, you know, interact with their families, because the family, um, the concept of family is pivotal to us surviving. Yeah, but it's not fully defined yet. So inclusivity, yeah, means that you accept that all these other bad things are going to happen, but you don't accept them happening in a designated place where longevity and eternity are the objectives for humanity. Okay? So you include them, but in another part of society, not in the area that has been designated. And obviously, it's space and time. Yeah. Here in the UK, we have a watershed. 9 o'clock, the kids go to bed. So you could say, um, but what type of spaces do we designate for this fundamental aim? These must be clearly marked boundaries. They must have clearly marked boundaries where you know if you're stepping into that zone, it's all about humanity's need to live forever. And that's for you as well. Yeah. So you understand that, and whatever your desires are, whatever you think of yourself, whatever you want to be, you keep that to yourself when you're there, and you concentrate on things that bring about uh, eternal life. Okay? When you're outside of that zone, then you can start being yourself, and do all that. Yeah. So that's how you build an inclusive society. You separate the fundamental aim, yeah, spatially and temporarily, yeah, space time, and everywhere else you kind of like designate for that, and you make sure that what happens everywhere else doesn't interfere with the designated space for us for where we consider our longevity, and what happens in that space doesn't affect everywhere else. So people who are in that space where we consider how to live for eternity can't go into red light areas and start lecturing people, and people who's into them red light areas can't come into the areas where people raise families and do things like that and lecture people on how you want to be accepted. You do that outside of that. We tried this, but we didn't really control the cross contamination between that designated zone and the forbidden zone. So we have a forbidden zone and a designated zone, but both these two zones have to be looked after by society. Yeah, because people have to live. Yeah, I mean, I could do my work for society in terms of prolonging human life. I'm doing it right now. I'm giving you useful advice. But then I want to be separate from that and do something for myself. Yeah. I must have a place where I can go and do that. All right. It's just designating a place away from a fundamental aim. The first thing is to define a fundamental aim, which is, yeah, to ensure that humanity lasts forever. That's the fundamental aim. Anything that threatens that should be somewhere else, should be in a forbidden zone, is forbidden. The Almighty creates hell. Why didn't He just destroy the evil one instead of making a place for him to stay? That's a lesson we're going to learn. So you make a place for them to stay, yeah, and you look after that place. The Almighty looks after, yeah. The devil is prince down there, but the Almighty is the king down there, because He's the one who creates that place where He's living in down there. So, yeah, and Christ might be prince in the light, but the Almighty is king in the light. He creates this place too. So it's king whichever way you look at it. So we have to build society that also looks at it like that. Yeah. If you care about people who are deviant, you look after them in a forbidden zone, but not where things are, are strictly about us living forever. Yeah. So those are the 2 points I want you to get from this: the fundamental aim for society and inclusivity. Yeah. That's it.